friends, I'm Erin, and this is Erin Go Live. This is my August TBR, more like a pile of possibilities because I definitely have more books that I'm actually going to be able to get to. So we'll start off with what I already have on the go. I have two different nonfiction books going. The first one is more kind of for work. You know, I'm a health coach and I primarily work with women. So I have Is This Normal by Dr. Jolene Brighten. She is also the author of Beyond the Pill, which I've read. Fantastic. Basically, judgment-free straight talk about your body, sex, hormones, periods, and everything else you wanted to know. A lot of his book is based off of questions that she receives both in her practice and on social media. Really, the lack of sex education, particularly about the female body. She just really dives deep and talks frankly about women's bodies and the functions of them. Then for my nonfiction book club, I have the Memoir Solito by Javier Zamora. This is the story of a boy. He's 9 years old at the beginning of the novel, and at 9 years old, he is taken by a coyote to make it to the United States from El Salvador. His family, or his parents are already there. He lives in El Salvador with his grandparents, and it's the story of the travel there. I'm not sure how long beyond him, like the actual immigration, the story goes, because I'm only about 50 pages in. I just finished chapter 1. I like that Ruman Alam says, if there's any justice, Solito will someday be considered a classic. I'm enjoying it so far. The only thing that's a little bit off-putting to me, it kind of takes me out of the story a little bit, is the kind of back and forth between English and Spanish, because it makes me think, like, is he just writing it in that way? Or particularly when it was dialogue, were they actually speaking half English, half Spanish? They're in El Salvador, so I can't imagine that there's any reason to be speaking in part English. So I don't know if that's just like in order to bring a little bit of Spanish into an otherwise English story or not. I actually don't think this is translated. I think this is written in English. I'm not seeing anything that says it was translated from Spanish. But otherwise, I'm enjoying the story so far. And then I'm pretty early on in The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. This is the third in the Poppy War, the final of the Poppy War series. I was so happy to find this used. I'd been waiting to find the hardback of this. I kept seeing the paperback, but I have the previous two books in the hardback, and they look so nice together on the shelf. And then I went into Half Price Books specifically to go see if I could find a copy, and they had it used. So it was, you know, fate that I should be reading this book now. I'm gonna set that aside because I'm gonna read that when I finish this video. Okay, so on to what I'm not reading yet, a pile of possibilities. After I finish Solito, probably, I will get to Caste, which will be the September book club book by Isabel Wilkerson. The Origins of Our Discontents. She won the Pulitzer for The Warmth of Other Suns, which I think, before I joined the book club, I think they read The Warmth of Other Suns. It might have even been their first book. But this is, as I understand, kind of comparing American racial and I think poverty to like categories to the Indian caste system. And the final nonfiction is a book that I just got a book cart. And before I had the book cart, I just had like literally 7 stacks of books. And I had this book just accidentally got buried and I just kind of forgot about it. And so I'm about a quarter to a third of the way through The Body That Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. And it's really about how trauma and life experiences physiologically affect our bodies. And so again, as a health coach and just as a human, as a person who has a body, that I would like to finish this book. All right, time for fiction. It is still summer and I would feel like a light, happy read. Everything I've talked about so far is quite heavy, and so it's time for a happy read. So how about Happy Place by Emily Henry? I've really loved all of her previous books, Book Lovers being my favorite. I've heard kind of mixed reviews on this one. Some people really love it, some people is kind of eh. So we'll see my thoughts on this. I know the premise is that there's a friend group, there's a couple within the friend group, they've broken up, and they don't want to tell the rest of the friend group because there's like a vacation or some sort of event that they do every year, and they kind of don't want to ruin it for everybody with this breakup being in the middle of it, so they pretend to still be together, and I imagine they get back together on this trip. Then we have Hello Beautiful. I love this cover. This is by Anne Napolitano. She was the author of Dear Edward, which I loved. fantastic book about a boy who is the sole survivor of a plane crash. He loses his family and ends up then being raised by his aunt and uncle. I think Amazon Prime did a series on it, made it into a TV series. So actually would love to watch that. I actually don't know what this is about. I just know that I loved Dear Edward, and so I want to give her next book a shot. Then I have Paper Names by Susie. This is a Chinese-American story from 3 different perspectives. I haven't read a whole lot about the actual synopsis of it, other than it's like an immigrant story. I'm not sure if they are American-born Chinese or if they're actually immigrants, or maybe it's a mix of that, but it's from 3 different perspectives of people having, I imagine, different experiences being a Chinese American or a Chinese immigrant in America. Couple series, right? So I already have The Burning God, the final in the Poppy War series, and then I have by V.E. Schwab, A Conjuring of Light, the final in I never know what this series is called. I can't even remember the first book. They all look basically the same. The London's series. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. Does it tell me what the first book is? A Darker Shade of Magic is the first book. It's been more than a few years actually since I read the first 2 books. It was before Sam died, so it's been a bit. I might need to kind of read a synopsis. I actually feel like I have a pretty good idea of what. I just don't remember really the ending, but I do have a pretty good memory of the first 2 books, which is actually kind of odd. So I would really love to finish this, and even if I don't finish it in August, September is series September, and so this would be a good book to like finish up a series in September. So if I don't get to this, I'm not super mad about it. I mean, it's books. I'm not gonna be super mad about anything. Another one, which may start in August, but could be a series September book as well, is Final Empire, the first book in the Mistborn series. I haven't read any Brandon Sanderson yet. I am oddly intimidated by it, even though I hear over and over and over again how it's such an easy read and he's not intimidating at all, and I just haven't picked it up yet. If anyone would like to buddy read this with me, I would invite you to do that. Comment if you want to do that, and that might give me the extra motivation to read this. Definitely I'll have to wait till I finish The Burning God before I jump into this. And then finally, a little light. This is a very genre-y, other than Paper Names and Hello Beautiful, this is a very genre-y TBR. But anyway, Lauren in the Book's Patreon book for the month, which I actually haven't participated in any of them yet since I've become a patron, is Agatha Christie's Cricket House. This is she's calling it Augusta Christie, and so this is also a shorty. So if this one goes into September, if I miss August and it goes into September, then this would count for a shorty for shorty September. So I'm not participating in any themed reading or anything like that unless I read this in August. But I do plan on participating in series September and shorty September. I'm not going to pick up all those books now that I look at them and think about holding them vertically. That's a lot of books. So this is definitely a pile of possibilities, but I'd love to know, what are you currently reading, or what are you planning on reading for August? Are you doing Garb August? It just doesn't really suit my reading taste personally, although it's fun to watch other people do it. Thank you for watching. Remember, every day is a great day for a great day, all day.